Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Psalms chapter 27, verses 1 through 3. Yahweh is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Yahweh is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host shall encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise against me, in this will I be confident.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, whom shall I fear?
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Lithonia, Georgia. We often look at the end result of a thing. It's really easy for us to do when it's something that we want to accomplish. We know when we're going to graduate high school. We know when we're going to finish college. There are set dates, and we have accomplished those particular things. When it comes to Yahweh working on us in our lives, we have a tendency to not focus on the end of a thing because we don't know when the end of it is. Matter of fact, sometimes we don't even know that Yahweh has began working on us. So it ends up being confusing for us that something is in the works. And it also gets confusing because we don't know the process in which Yahweh is going to use to accomplish a particular objective. Now, Yahweh and the adversary work on parallel streets. This means that the way in which they operate are alike in some ways. The end result is different because the objective is different. We must first realize that the adversary stated that he will be just like the Most High. So it is first of all important to figure out who is copying who. This can be a little confusing because sometimes the copycat comes out first. The copycat, having access to inside information, gives him or her the ability to implement your plan before you do. The adversary has no problems with achieving great things by foul means. This gives evil an advantage over good. The adversary plays a game called expose and exploit. This is where he exposes your weaknesses and exploits you through those weaknesses. Yahweh activates an operation called expose and erase, where he too exposes your weaknesses, but he will, through the process of time, erase those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. The problem is, the beginning is the same action, and that is exposure. Let's begin today's sermon in Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1, and we're going to start that at verse 1. And for those who are watching us on the internet, we are doing Bible trivia today. If you do not get an email, please send a request to the uci.org at gmail.com, and we will send you a copy of the Bible trivia for today, which we will also do live broadcast after our meal, which is maybe about 5 o'clock. Go ahead.
There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Elohim and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east.
Now, this tells you certain things here, because when a person has a lot of things that they have accomplished, people have a tendency to be nice to you when you own some stuff. Their attitude towards you changes when you have some things, even if it's something that they want to say to you. They won't say it in the same way because of what this man possesses. So there's some people around this man that have some indignation with him that he's not aware of yet. They have not shown their indignation because they like the things that he has. They like the things that he has accomplished, and they don't want to risk not being able to partake in some of those things. So they're not open with how they really feel about him. Go ahead.
And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed Elohim in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
Now, here is a man who believes that he has raised his children correctly, but he still is trying to operate in a way that he believes they may have sinned. It is absolutely interesting how some people will not raise their kids at all and still believe that their kids are perfect. They don't discipline them. They don't do any of those things, but they cannot imagine that their kids might have sinned. And here is a man seeking after righteousness and always thinking, my kids probably did something. It's amazing how that turns out. Go ahead.
Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, whence cometh you? Then Satan answered Yahweh, and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that fears Elohim and escheweth evil?
Now, this may be where the confusion lies, because if Yahweh sees that this is a perfect man, why does he see fit to allow Satan to touch him? Well, there's something deeper in there that Yahweh wants. There's something deeper. Yahweh is digging deeper than what we can see on the surface. This is where things get confusing. If he's perfect and upright, why are you going to allow Satan to touch him? Go ahead.
Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, Does Job fear Elohim for naught?
Uh-huh.
Is not you made an hedge about him?
So
about
the
his house?
adversary knows that there's a hedge round about Job. He knows that he is protected. He knows he can't touch him. Go ahead.
And about all that he has on every side, you have blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth your hand now, and touch all that he has, and he'll curse you to your face.
Now, when this happens, now understand now, Yahweh is looking for something deeper inside of Job. So if he steps back, removes this hedge, and things of Job begin to disappear, now some people who have had a little bit of indignation against Job, maybe a little jealousy, now they're going to come out the bushes that they've been hiding in. Now they're going to express themselves too. So make sure you keep that in the scenario as you're reading this. All of those friends, because you got a whole lot of friends when everything is going good. Everybody your friend when you're winning. But once you take that first L, every naysayer come out the bushes. So it's good if Yahweh has prescribed the L in your forecast. You might get to see who around you and why they're around you. See, some people are just around you to make themselves look better. Meaning as soon as they fall, they're going to throw your fall in the forefront so that your fall can take light off of their fall. They're not really hanging with you like that. They just say, okay, in case of emergency, break glass and expose their issue. Boom, nobody is now looking at mine. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he has is in your power, only upon himself put not forth your hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house.
Now, first of all, you have to look at when this whole conversation is taking place on a holy day. It says, and Satan came also. So this whole discussion about dealing with Job is happening on a holy day. Go ahead.
And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yes, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone am escaped alone to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came also another. And he said, the fire of Elohim is fallen from heaven.
Now, it's amazing that it didn't start with the fire of Elohim has come from heaven and have done these things. It was like the first one, when you watch a fight, you can tell when somebody is trying to hurry up and end the fight because you're going for the power punch. But you set up the power punch. See, the first one was the jab. And when you loose him up, you push that head over to the side. Here he come with this fire coming out of heaven. Now this one right here is meant to break him for everything else. But this is also where the confusion comes. Because they said the fire of Elohim. Now, it is the belief at this point that it is the Most High who's punishing you. But he's contracted this job out to the adversary, the devil. Now, Yahweh still has a purpose for allowing Satan to do it. But he contracted this job out. And surely people say there's no way that Satan has the power to make fire shoot down from heaven. There's no way. So now we've already decided in our minds who is responsible for all of this. Go ahead.
Also, he said what Lucifer said, take all that he has and he'll curse you to your face.
Right.
So the best way I can get him to curse you to your face is to make it look like it's coming from you.
Right. Go ahead.
And has burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came also another.
And y'all know now when we get some things back to back, this is what really breaks us. See, now the adversary could have let all of this happen at one time. He said, no, he keep going. They do it the same way that we get sucked in on the late night infomercial. But wait, there's more. For a small price, you can get 3 of these. But wait, there's more. This infomercial just keep dragging out. After 12 minutes of this infomercial, you done filled up half your basement. I need 12 of them. You don't know one of them going to work. But because of the deal, you're going to go ahead and get the 12. He's stretching this thing. Nobody knows marketing better than the prince over the power of the air. Oh, he's marketing right now. He's stretching this thing out. But then again, didn't Yahweh do the same thing? Okay. Pharaoh, I'm finna put something on you. No, he's not gonna be able to repent. Because I'm about to stretch this thing out. No, I'm gonna give him all of these plagues. And he gonna repent once I hit him the first time, but I don't want to stop. So I'm not gonna let him repent. Same way. The adversary know how Yahweh work. You don't work beside somebody for an extended period of time and not know how they operate. So this is a part of the operation too, to make them say, you know what? Ain't that just like God? Right. Go ahead.
While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yes, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And, behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell you. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. Yahweh gave, and Yahweh has taken away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged Elohim foolishly.
Right. Now, you can look at this in a positive and negative manner. It was wonderful that with all of this loss, that Job still did not charge Elohim foolishly. But when we get right down to it, Yahweh was still digging for something deeper inside of Job. So eventually he was going to strike that human oil. And eventually he got down to that point. You have to wonder if he had broke down or got to a part a little sooner, maybe this would have not dragged out as much. Because all of this right here is just his substance. He hadn't touched his body yet. These are external losses that he's suffering at this point. This is the opening, so he ain't even got to the halftime show yet. This the opening song. The game ain't started yet. Now the adversary is finna go deeper when he starts touching him physically. And because we limit the power of the Most High, now, or we limit the power of the adversary, the devil, we are now confused as to who is performing this. Now, when I was in the hospital, there was a discussion that I was told about later between a former priest and a current priest. The discussion was whether or not it was Yahweh or Lucifer who did this to me when I was sick. The answer is it could have been both. We must understand that the adversary still works for Yahweh. The difference is in the end result. When Yahweh is present, you come out better than you started. Not like you started, but better than how you started. It took that to do the rest of this. You have to look at the beginning of that. See, when some things take place, there are some parts that you don't know. There are some prayers that were said before any of these things started. Yahweh is also in the process of answering those prayers. The beginning of that was Yahweh answering a prayer. I didn't know how he was going to answer that. The end result, which is the bottom portion of that, is Yahweh at the end of that thing. But the beginning was absolutely horrible. But because ain't no diploma given out at the end, ain't no marching ceremonies, ain't no band, ain't none of that happening, it's very difficult to figure out where we should place our emphasis. Because Yahweh don't announce to you. You don't get, all the family don't drive you off to the college to begin Yahweh's test for you. It doesn't work like that. You might be in the middle of the test before you even know you in one. But you're going to know that you're in one. One of the things that you will notice is how Yahweh deals with you. There are some things as we moved to this place that I did expect, but not on that level. When I got my first house, my house that I live in, me and my best friend since 8th grade fell out at the housewarming party. I mean, best friend. I had his name in my songs. He was agreeing to, we got in some trouble. He was going to do time for me. I mean, we was tight. Fell out at the housewarming. And I had to painfully realize that there are some that can be your friend as long as y'all are on the same level. As soon as that level changes, they are not willing to renegotiate how they have to deal with you. That's something that we're going to have to understand with the process of Yahweh dealing with us. Let's go to Job chapter 42. Now, there's a lot we skipping here to get to the end of this thing. There are some very traumatic parts within this story. I mean, the wife of his bosom tells him to just curse Elohim and die, because she tired. She tired of looking at him. He don't look good. He got scales and sores, boils all over his body. Boils look one way when they start. They look another way when they drained. So she had to look at two horrible pictures of this man. And she just wanted out. He's got to still deal with all of that along with the loss of his substance and his children. And then he has to listen to his friends that are supposed to be his friends. And at this point, they're terrorizing him with the things that are coming out of their mouth. Why? Because at this point, everybody still believes that this is Yahweh himself that is doing all of this work. And if Yahweh has done all of this against you, how could he love you? How could he love you and do this to you? Job 42, and let's read verses 10 through 17.
And Yahweh turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends.
Stop. The same friends who terrorized him, the same friends who talked all kind of stuff, Yahweh still didn't turn his captivity until he prayed for the same friends who terrorized him at his lowest point. Oh, Yahweh got jokes. Yahweh got jokes. Yahweh will deal with everybody in the room with the same event and still be dealing with a different aspect in each one of us with the same event. One person took it this way, one person took it that way, one person took it this way, one person reacts this way, one person reacts that way. Yahweh all in it. But he still didn't bring but one situation. Go ahead.
Also, Yahweh gave Job twice as much as he had before.
Wait a minute. Twice as much. At this point, before, everybody believes, all right, Job has lost everything. Now we can go ahead and say whatever we want to say about him. I mean, all his cattle gone. His oxen gone, his sheep gone. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and say everything that we want to say about Job. He done lost everything now. Lo and behold, at the end of this thing, he has more than what he had before. This is how Yahweh shows you who he has chosen for that particular thing. It doesn't mean that that person's chosen for everything. It means that they're chosen in that thing. Go ahead.
Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that Yahweh had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold.
Yahweh turned around and turned his captivity, and now is about to bless him abundantly, even with the substance of all those around him. Go ahead.
So Yahweh blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Yemima, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren-Hapuk.
It's interesting that the names of the daughters after his persecution are listed. No way he doesn't list the name of their wife. The one who said, just curse Elohim and die. I don't think she the mama of these here. Go ahead.
And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days.
With as sick as he was, as hopeless as his altercation appeared, he died an old man full of days. But there was one part where he was so sick, they said, I don't think he's going to make it through the week. But the end of a thing, you have to hold on long enough to get to the end of a thing. Sometimes we get in the middle and say, you know what, I'm just too overwhelmed. I'm out. And Yahweh creates scenarios for those people so they can go ahead and get out. So they can go ahead and whine and go through whatever, and they take off. And every time they do, Yahweh turn around and give us something bigger and better. Then you find out something. Oh, he was waiting on them to leave. It's like, you have to think about something. With some of the issues and altercations that we had, what would have happened if Yahweh had given us all the things that we have now with some of the characters that we had before? We'd have had folks trying to run their own business out the studio. We'd have a construction business in the basement. Lawn service out of the back. Hey, man, who doing that? Folk taking up their own offering. Hey, man, where you get that bag from? We come here, folk got their own grill and stand going on. What you doing? Oh, man, we set up a Jamaican jerk stand. What the hell? Right. You understand when you look back why Yahweh does what he does. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Working on cars in the back. Who Honda is that?
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter.
Why? Why? Who would rather be sad than happy? Why is sorrow better than laughter? Keep reading.
For by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better.
He can't work on you when you think you got it going on. See? It's the haughty spirit that goes before a fall, and that pride that goes before destruction. He can't reach you then. See, when he gets you to that place of sorrow, now all of a sudden you can hear. But when you think your stuff don't stink, can't nobody tell you nothing. Hey man, you know you really can do better if you do this better. I don't know. If I get in the bed, I'm gonna be perfect. What you talking about? Say that then. Can't be helped at that point. So Yahweh, you know what? Let me go ahead and touch him a little bit. Let me go ahead and touch him a little bit and soften up that soil. See, before you plant something, you got to come through and break up that ground. So Yahweh throw the seeds out, but you say, you know what? I'm too tough. And those seeds getting in this soil. I'm like, I'm flexing my muscle. You see this? Have you seen this? Okay. All right. Come through there, till that up. Break all that up. Now all of a sudden them seeds getting a little deeper. So now all he needs is a little water. All right, make him cry. Go ahead and make him cry. And that's going to water the seed. Now we got production. But when you all stiff and hard and everything working out for you, he can't reach you. So sometimes he got to soften you up. Go ahead.
The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools.
Yeah, but we go to the fools so we can hear their song. Because we don't want to hear the rebuke. We run from the rebuke of the wise and run to go hang with the fools. Hey, fools, sing me a song. Make me feel comfortable, foolish. Right. Go ahead.
For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This also is vanity. Surely oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift destroys the heart.
That gift is acceptance. We want to be accepting in a certain circle. Go ahead.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. You don't really know what you're looking at in the beginning of a thing. You might think you know what you're looking at. Yahweh might just be showing you, all right, this is what I'm about to do. In the beginning of cleaning for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, your house is absolutely horrible. That's not the end of the thing. That's the beginning. What happened if you come in the beginning of the cleaning of unleavened bread when everything is laying on the counter and laying on the table as you're getting to the corner of those cabinets? What happened if you assess that at that point? Then you all woe is me. Now what happened when you do that in your life and you start pulling all the stuff out your cabinets and sitting it on the table? He pulling all the stuff out your cabinets of life and sitting it on the counter. Now you come in and look at your life, woe is me. He just getting started. He's getting ready to organize that stuff. Part of why you can't produce because you got stuff in the wrong area. You can't figure out what that foul smell is. You put your eggs in the cabinet by your ketchup. You got your stuff arranged the wrong way. Go ahead.
And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not hasty in your spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Say not you, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For you doeth not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to them that have it. Consider the work of Elohim, for who can make that straight which he has made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. Elohim also has set the one over against the other, so the end of that man should find nothing after him. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There's a just man that perishes in his righteousness, and there's a wicked man that prolongs his life in his wickedness. Be not righteous over much, neither make yourself overwise. Why should you destroy yourself? Be not over much wicked, neither be you foolish. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you should take hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not your hand. For he that fears Elohim shall come forth of them all. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. For there is not a just man upon earth that does good and sins not.
Right. So we're going to all be at a point where we're going to, at some point, have to ask for mercy. At some point, we're going to have to ask for forgiveness. At some point, we're going to have to be rebuked for something that we have done. There's not a just man upon the earth that does good and sins not. It didn't say that there's not a just man that does not good. No. Does good and does not sin. At some point, we're going to transgress. Go ahead.
Also take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. For oftentimes also your own heart knows that you yourself likewise has cursed others.
We sometimes don't remember that when we are talking about somebody else. We just remember what was said about us. Now we hurt. Go ahead.
That was it, verse 22.
All right. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4, and we're going to start that at verse 1 and go through verse 26.
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
Yahweh respected one offering, but didn't respect the other brother's offering. There was a difference in those offerings. Go ahead.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell.
Cain is angry that his offering was not accepted, and now he has an anger issue. And where does he place that anger? Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Cain, Why are you angry? And why is your countenance fallen? If you does well, shall you not be accepted? And if you does not well, sin lies at the door.
Right. Why are you angry? If it wasn't good, I have to deal with it. Why are you angry? Should I just accept what you offered because you offered it? No. You know where you did wrong at. Go fix it. Go ahead.
And unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
Right. And it's amazing that you still find the seed of Cain operating in the earth. Because people will be angry about somebody else's accomplishment. And instead of them working hard to fix theirs, they then come in and try to poison the other brother's or sister's accomplishment because they couldn't achieve it. Now, all he had to do is change how he did his, and it would have been accepted. No, he rather kill his brother than change how he makes his offering. He could have changed his offering and had his offering accepted. But instead, that seed of Cain that still is in the earth that operates, instead of fixing mine, I'm going to see if I can make his fall. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Cain, Where is Abel your brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand.
Now, we have to remember that the life is in the blood. So then you consider what's happening. Yahweh is almost mentioning this as if he's like a third party in this. You have to really examine, you're cursed from the ground. Wait a minute. Something living went into that. If life is in the blood, there are foundational things about the law that are in this, but Yahweh hasn't given the law yet. It says that whenever somebody defiles the land by shedding blood, the only way it can be cleansed is by the shedding of blood from the person who defiled it. There's something happening between the blood and the earth right now, but we haven't been given the law. Go ahead.
When you till the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto you her strength.
And look at where his punishment then comes from. The same ground that he shed blood in. Go ahead.
A vagabond and a fugitive, and a vagabond shall you be in the earth.
Once again, punished on the earth. Go ahead.
And Cain said unto Yahweh, My punishment is greater than I can bear.
It is absolutely amazing that the individuals who have shown absolutely no mercy, when they get caught up in something, they want exactly what they didn't offer to anybody else. Have mercy on me. Where was your mercy? Where was yours? It's just way too, woe is me. It's way too much for me. I'm going to be cut off from your face. When your brother get to see me? Then you cut him off from seeing me? Go ahead.
Behold, you have driven me out this day from the face of the earth.
You see this? Now it's a me party. It's a me party. Now he's throwing a me party. He got streamers. He got the little hat. He blowing the little things. He got party favors. The murderer is throwing a me party. Feel sorry for me. Go ahead.
It's interesting that all of a sudden now your relationship with Yahweh is important. And Yahweh came to you and asked you, why are you angry? You had the opportunity to deal with that relationship and get answers. But now you kept it to yourself, devised your own plan, get put out. Now I'm going to be out of your face.
Right. I can't believe it. I'm being put out. But the talk was real nasty before. You have to think about how nasty. Am I my brother's keeper? Now he is the murderer, and you still running off at the mouth. But it's amazing how we talk when we don't know we caught. The talk only changes once we understand. You do know I know what happened, right? You do know the question was rhetorical. I wasn't really asking you, wait, what? You do understand that. Now that's when the talk changes. Before that, the talk is bold. I know not am I my brother's keeper. What you asking me for? Okay. Go ahead.
And from your face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
A fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. You're just going to go from place to place to place. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that finds me shall slay me.
Protect me from people like me. There's some killers out there. What? Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto him, Therefore, whosoever slays Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold.
Ain't Yahweh something? Yahweh protects the murderer. Go ahead.
And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east side of Eden.
Now, he gets an opportunity to still prosper and produce in his life. Go ahead.
And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare him Enoch. And he built a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother name was Ubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ.
Now we're talking about generations are going. We're talking about a lineage being developed all after evil was done. Go ahead.
And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, you wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt.
So he did the same thing Cain did. Go ahead.
If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold.
Right, because he has gone even to a deeper level. Go ahead.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For Elohim, said she, has appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of Yahweh.
Now, we have to examine this because the copycat goes first. So you have the seed of the adversary. You have to even look at the names. You have Cain, Enoch, Irad, Mehujael, Methusael, Lamech, Jabal, Ubal, and Tubal Cain. Seed of Adam then comes Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalalel, Yared, Enoch, Methuselah. Even the names that are not the same are very much alike. Lamech, then of course comes Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So the adversary, knowing the ultimate plan, has an ability to run a deception game. He doesn't have the point where he has to wait for a righteous seed because he's not doing anything righteous. This is the advantage that evil has over good. Let's go to Numbers chapter 13. Numbers chapter 13, and we're going to start that at verse 25.
Verse 25. And they returned from searching the land after 40 days.
This is significant. Go ahead.
And they went and came to Moshe and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither you sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land.
Yeah, like what you said was true. Yeah, it was a good land, but nevertheless. Go ahead.
And the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. And the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are all well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
So you have to consider what's happening here. If you have 12 brothers that have gone, representative of each of the tribes, you have 10 brothers that are saying we can't do it, and 2 brothers who are saying that we can. The ones who are saying that we can are greatly outnumbered. Go ahead.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel.
And you know us. If we hear something by multiple individuals, we then believe that the testimony must be true. Go ahead.
Saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Keep
And
going.
all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would Elohim that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would Elohim we had died in this wilderness?
Now, they are now asking for death because of the report that somebody else has given about the land. Understand that they ain't seen no giant. They ain't seen no weapons. They ain't seen no chariots. They ain't seen nothing. All they heard was the report that came from the other individuals. And they are completely revolting at what they heard. Go ahead.
You know, brother, the way you just brought that up, there you see the two sticks before it even separates.
Mm-hmm. It's something right there. You sure see it, and it was two.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually got the third in the Levites because Israel wouldn't let the Levites be priests. So you're absolutely right. It didn't start out being, 3 on this side and the other 9. That's not how it started. It was just like this. Go ahead.
And wherefore has Yahweh brought us onto this land, to fall by the sword, and our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel.
Now fear has caused them to now lead a revolt against Yahweh. And they're looking for a captain for their revolt against Yahweh. But people don't look and think that they're going against Yahweh. What they believe that they're just going against the man that they see, not understanding that the man has been ordained to do a job. Go ahead.
And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Yephani, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahweh delight in us, then he will bring us into the land and give it us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only rebel you not against Yahweh, neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not.
But you see how those who have the right spirit see one thing. Those who have a different spirit see something else. Go ahead.
But all the congregation bade stone them with stones.
Check that out. Because they're trying to convince the people, their lives are now in jeopardy. They're trying to tell them, look, y'all, we can do this. We can take this. They're like, we about to kill them. We're gonna show them. Go ahead.
And the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel.
So the glory of Yahweh has appeared before the tabernacle to keep these brothers from getting stoned to death. And what have they done wrong? Saying, y'all know we can do this. Check that out. Y'all know we can do this, could get you killed in Israel. Y'all know we can do this. Yo, get some rocks. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, How long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me?
How long will it be before they believe me? How long will it be before they trust me? See, we have levels of trust. I'll trust you to do this, but I can't trust you to do that. I trust you with this level of stuff, but I won't trust you with my innermost intimate thing. I ain't gonna trust you like that. How long will it be before they trust me? When you in need, did not provide for you? When you was in danger, did not protect you? You couldn't beat the people who I just led you away from. How long will it be before you trust me? And that lack of belief caused the people to not move forward in the correct way. Go ahead.
For all the signs which I have showed among them,
Uh-huh.
I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of you a greater nation and mightier than they. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, Then the Egyptians shall hear it, for you brought up this people in your might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Yahweh, are among this people, that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and that your cloud stands over them, and that you goeth before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you shall kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of you will speak, saying, Because Yahweh was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness.
So then, Yahweh actually repented for his holy name's sake. He got Yahweh to back up by telling him about, look, then those people. Now look, these people done seen it. You done pulled out your fire and your cloud. You did this. Now these people gonna say that you wasn't able to do it. Is that how you gonna let your name be out here in these streets? Go ahead.
And now, I beseech you, let the power of my Adonai be great, according as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving lawlessness and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the lawlessness of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech you, the lawlessness of this people, according unto the greatness of your mercy, and as you have forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. And Yahweh said, I have pardoned according to your word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yah. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness,
they are held accountable. They are held accountable because they've seen his miracles. They are held accountable because they have seen the great, wonderful things that he has done. You shall be held accountable. Go ahead.
And have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and has followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you, and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me?
Right. Now listen.
I have heard the murmur.
We have certain things that we might see as evil. Yahweh said murmuring is evil. He said this is an evil congregation. Why? Because they're murmuring again. I say one thing, they want to speak back. We don't consider that evil. We think I'm just trying to prove my point. Right. You murmuring. He said this is an evil congregation. How long shall I bear? How long you think I'm going to deal with this? How long do you think I'm going to keep dealing with? How long you think I should deal with this? Go ahead.
I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, As truly as I live, says Yahweh, as you have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless you shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Yephani, and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which you said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised.
Right. You shall be judged by every word that proceeds out of your mouth. You have said that the children were going to be a prey, and your judgment is the children that you claimed that I was going to kill off. The children walking in, and you I'm going to kill off. Go ahead.
But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
After the number of the days in which you searched the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall you bear your lawlessness, even 40 years, and you shall know my breach of promise.
You shall know my breach of promise, because you getting punished a year for a day. Go ahead.
I, Yahweh, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moshe sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before Yahweh. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Yephani, which were of the men that went to search the land, live still.
Uh-huh.
And Moshe told these things unto all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly.
You know, this is a real good example for us to look at. A lot of times we get sucked into things by the other people that are around us. Understand, there's 10 people who are saying that this land is evil and it eats up the inhabitants thereof. Only 2 people stood. That was a lonely stand. But they're the only 2 that's going to get to see it of that generation. Go ahead.
And they rose up early in the morning, and gat them up in the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place which Yahweh has promised. For we have sinned.
Uh-huh.
And Moshe said, Wherefore now do you transgress the commandment of Yahweh? But it shall not prosper.
No, you wouldn't go when I told you to go. You don't get to go whenever you want to go. I already said go. You got ready to stone the people who said, yes, let's go. Now you think you can just go now? No, you can go now. You have separated yourself from my spirit. You ain't going now. But here's Israel. Go ahead.
Go not up, for Yahweh is not among you, that you be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword, because you are turned away from Yahweh, therefore Yahweh will not be with you. But they presumed to go up onto the hilltop.
They presumed. Presumptuous. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and Moshe departed not out of the camp.
There's some real easy signs that should have let us know that we were not going to be prosperous. Go ahead.
Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah.
All right. Now, when Yahweh brings in the crops of earth, which are his people, aka the human harvest, there are things that are exposed about his fruit. There are some things about the fruit that were hidden in the field but they will be exposed when the fruit are gathered together in the storeroom. See, one fruit was able to hide a bruised portion by hiding behind the leaf. When the leaves are removed, the bruised portion appears. When he causes us to tabernacle, the fruit can no longer hide in the field. Its bruised portions are exposed. Then we see the grace of our Elohim. If our bruised portions do not spread from us to other fruit, then he is able to accept us, even with our bruised portions. Let's go to Matthew chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9, and we're going to read verses 14 through 31.
Matthew chapter 9 and verse 14. Then came to him the disciples of Johanan, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples fast not? And Yahshua said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn? Can the children of the bride chamber mourn, as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. No man puts a piece of new cloth onto an old garment, for that which is put in to fill up takes from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runs out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come and lay your hand upon her, and she shall live. And Yahshua arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And, behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment.
Now, you're going to hear various groups tell you that the woman was healed because she touched the hem of the garment and it had fringes on it. This is what they use for their necessity of wearing fringes.
See, the woman touched the fringe right there. This is how she was healed.
Keep reading.
For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Yahshua turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort. Your faith has made you whole.
I'm sorry, what made her whole?
Her faith.
Right, he didn't say, daughter, you have touched the fringe. Baby girl, you done got to heal, you done touched that fringe.
That is not, he didn't say nothing about no fringe. He said her faith. Go ahead.
Yeah, but her first intentions was not to touch the hem. She said, if I but touch his garment, that means any part of him.
Any part of him. She touched the part that she could get to, and now you have a whole doctrine of fringe wearers because, and this is the part that they're going to take and twist and say, she was healed because she touched the hem of his garment and the fringes was there. Go ahead.
And the woman was made whole from that hour. And when Yahshua came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleeps. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose.
Sometimes Yahweh has a situation to take place so everybody gets an opportunity to make their stand.
Mm-hmm.
He said, the maid is not dead, but sleeps. Everybody go ahead and gets to pick their position. They're going to go ahead and laugh. They're going to go ahead and do whatever they got to do. Then he's going to do his thing. Go ahead.
And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. And when Yahshua departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, You son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him. And Yahshua says unto them, Believe you that I am able to do this? They said unto him, Yes, Adonai.
Now, how could they believe? These are people who they haven't seen. The whole issue is that they cannot see. But they believe without seeing. Why is that wonderful? We've encountered individuals who saw everything that we were doing. They didn't believe that we could do it. They saw it and still didn't believe. Here you have people who haven't seen anything, but they believe. Go ahead.
Then touch he their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it unto you.
According to your faith. So without the faith and the belief that he can do it, it wasn't going to get done. You wonder why some people see one thing and some people see something else? Right. Their faith faith level decides what they see. Their faith level decides what they hear. Go ahead.
And their eyes were opened, and Yahshua straightly charged them, saying, see that no man knows it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all that country.
Right. Telling us not to tell is synonymous with saying tell everybody. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 53 through 58. But you know, that's a hard secret to hold right there. You know, I mean, everything you see is new, you know. Even the people who you've known for 20, 30 years, I mean, you just saw them today, all right? You have heard their voice for decades, and you have never seen them. Man, how you gonna hold something like that? What am I supposed to do? I'm amazed at a tree. I felt a leaf, but I never seen a leaf. I brushed up against a tree, but I've never seen one. This is my family. I've heard them my whole life, but I just saw them today. How are you supposed to contain something like that? Go ahead.
Verse 53. And it came to pass that when Yahshua had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, whence has this man this wisdom and these mighty works?
All right, so they have some indignation. See, there are certain things that we believe certain individuals ought to be able to accomplish. And then there's other things that some people that we have already put on the level that we're going to deal with them on. They should not be able to achieve these things. And then here comes Yahweh. Go ahead.
Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Miriam? And his brethren, Jacob and Joseph, and Simeon and Yehuda?
How you know all this stuff? Man, we know this dude, man. The same thing your family's saying about you.
Oh, now all of a sudden they holy now. Look at him. He wasn't all that holy when I had to come get him out of clay coat. I still got the bond papers. He wasn't holy and righteous then. Look at him. Talking about they don't keep no holidays.
Go ahead.
And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then has this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Yahshua said unto them,
listen, they were offended in him because they knew him. Sometimes you think you cool with somebody because you know them. They are offended because they know you. Listen, no. There's a certain level of greatness that I will only accept from somebody I don't know. I will not accept this level of greatness from somebody I know. Go ahead.
a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief.
He was limited to what he could do because of their unbelief. Let's go to Matthew chapter 15. And we're going to read verses 1 through 20.
Then came to Yahshua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, Why do you also transgress the commandment of Elohim by your tradition? For Elohim commanded, saying, Honor your father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But you say, Whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, It is a gift by whatsoever you might be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of Elohim of none effect by your tradition. You hypocrites, Well did Esaias prophesy of you, saying, this people draw near unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
Right. He examines the difference between your words and your deeds. Go ahead.
But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. And he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Not that which goes into the mouth defiles a man, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man.
Now, people going to tell you, right, when they'll read half of verse 11, not that which goes into the mouth defiles a man.
You see that? Christ is saying right there that pork chop is good all the time.
They ain't even finished reading. And they already got a pork chop hanging out the side of their mouth saying, now you see that? Then they take the other part.
You see that? There was a cleansing of the food when he told them, rise, slay, kill, and eat. See?
Go ahead.
Then came his disciples and said unto him, know you that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying? But he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch.
He said, leave them alone. He didn't say go and try to evangelize them. Now he sent them out to other places. But he told him to leave the Pharisees alone. I don't go to other people's congregation and try to recruit their members. They be blind leading the blind. Let them alone. They gonna fall into a ditch. I don't go anywhere seeking anybody else's sheep. Not at all. He said leave them alone. Go ahead.
Then answered Cephas and said unto him, declare unto us this parable. And Yahshua said, are you also yet without understanding? Do not you yet understand that whatsoever enters in at the mouth goes into the belly, and is cast out into the draught? But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashen hands defiles not a man.
So you got to get all the way down to verse 20. And if you don't read that, then you're going to let somebody lie to you and tell you that this has something to do with cleansing the food. Man, he talking about unwashed hands. They got a plate full of shrimp. And he talking about unwashed hands. But if you don't get to verse 20, you already got the cocktail sauce. Boy, let's go to Matthew chapter 12. It's amazing what happens, though, when Yahweh changes your mind towards something. I used to look at shrimp and crab legs, and I saw delicious. He completely changed the way I saw. You could tell when I got paid because I would be up there getting them crab legs steamed and seasoned.
Tell him, put that obey on there. Put that obey in there. Yeah, you steam them things. And let me go ahead and get a, let me go ahead and get a bottle of wine. You know what I'm saying? You know what, too? I feel festive.
You know. Oh, you can tell they can tell when I was getting paid at the store. But he changed how I saw things. Now, I can look at lobster, crab, and shrimp as the sea roaches that they are. I said, oh, look at those little roaches. I couldn't see that before. I saw before,
What a cocktail sauce.
and I love the way they advertise things and make you feel like it's even better.
They said you can get these shrimp deveined. That ain't no vein. That ain't no vein. That little dog thing running down the back. That's not no vein. That's that do twice. That's what that is. Don't let nobody fool you. Cocktail sauce ain't gonna make that go away. Come on. Go ahead, bro.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 33. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt, for the tree is known by his fruit. O generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
See, all of the things that we encounter begin to affect us, and it goes into the shaping of our heart. What Yahweh has to do is to then put that heart back on the potter's wheel and reshape it. Now that ain't gonna happen zip tang. Sometimes he might have to ball it up and say, you know what, this thing here so messed up. Boy, this thing here messed up. Yeah, look at all these impurities in here. Who put all this in here? How did this get in here? He can't even start forming yet. Meanwhile, you just suspended. He just got to get, he's like, let me get all this junk out of here first. Because I started shaping and I kept feeling rocks and what is all this stuff? All right. Hold on. Let me just ball this back up and start all over. After I get all the impurities out. Now I'm feeling smoothness as it come around. Now I can reshape this heart. Now I can do it. But I had to get all that stuff out of it first. Go ahead.
A good man out of the good treasure of the heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
You know, when we consider that, we consider what we have read. We know about the angel. It says that the angel with the writer's inkhorn, right? So we consider, okay, you talking and somebody wrote it down. But you know, from the beginning of this, Yahweh has always had technology that we didn't have. There were no video cameras when this was written. You never do consider. No. He's not going to read your words to you. He's going to show them to you. No, he's going to show you standing there saying it. Video didn't exist when this was written. And every couple of years, they come out with another level of high definition. For long, they're going to have TV where somebody just come out of it, slap you, and get back in the TV. I mean, each year, the thing gets so clear. This is why they be like, no, Dad, I want the PlayStation 5. No, I want PlayStation 7. They keep getting better and better with the graphics. Imagine, they still ain't got the graphics card that Yahweh got. So you're going to be able to see yourself in HD quality. And some of that we have completely forgot. Man, we forget what we did yesterday. How are we supposed to remember the things 35 years ago that we standing in judgment for? You know, don't worry about it. You got a memory card in your brain. Let me just hook up to that. All right. Now let me go ahead and play all these things back to you. And we done looked at all the movies. They hook up, see our thoughts. You think Yahweh ain't got that? He said, no. I'm going to download your hard drive. And we're going to play all of these things. And we're going to go back through them. The book's going to be open. And your book going to be open. And we're going to go through this thing in HD quality. That's going to be a hard thing to watch. Because sometimes we might remember an action smoother than how it actually happened. And then when you see all the bumps and bruises and stuff, you're like, oh, wow. I didn't know that's how it came across. This is also why it says sorrow is better than laughter. Because when that then comes to you, now you have an opportunity to say, okay, not just an opportunity to change. Now you're willing. Because see, that's what he's got to do. He has to have a willing participant. He can always tell you what's right or wrong, but you have to be willing to say, I want to do what's right. Go ahead.
You know, brother, back here where it says give an account for every idle word, it's in part of the oracles where we talk about let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Then we touch neither filthiness nor foolish talking nor jesting. And that's the part I think we don't consider. When we get into this jesting and the foolish words that may come out of our mouth that we're going to have to give an account for. Just because we caught up in that moment.
Right. Brother, let me tell you something, man. I completely changed the way I joke. I back in the days when I ended up, you know, I had a 6'3" black as night drug dealer told me I hurt his feelings because I joned him too hard, and I mean he was ready to fight. You know, my defense was, you sell dope. How do you have feelings? You should have turned those in when you got your dope bag. I was completely thrown off. All right, but after meditating on that, if I was able to hurt the drug dealer's feelings, how many other feelings have I hurt? Then I had to back up. There's certain ways I don't joke anymore. I don't joke about, you know, certain things. There's certain things, if a situation happened, we'll go and we'll laugh about situations, but personal things, how somebody's made, there's certain things that I've taken off the table. I don't deal with that anymore. Because I've seen the hurt that caused, and I backed up from performing that way. And you're right, we don't consider, because sometimes people act like something was okay. And they're still holding animosity because, you know, that thing really hurt them. And they don't say nothing. But then later on, something comes out. And you're like, oh, you've been holding on to that. That really hurt you. Go ahead.
Verse 37. For by your words shall you be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 6. Luke chapter 6, and we're going to read verses 43 through 49.
Verse 40.
Luke chapter 6, we're going to read verses 43 through 49.
For a good tree brings not forth corrupt fruit, neither does a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Right. But what happens is when we come in this word, we are in a point where we are a strange tree. See, we coming out of the earth, so we already got corruptness in us. But then we're trying to be reborn in the spirit, so we got good fruit. Now we are a mingled tree. And Yahweh gives us an opportunity to figure out what kind of tree we're going to be. And there's a part of that process that's a little rough. But ultimately, you got to figure out what kind of fruit you're going to produce. And you won't be able to produce two types of fruit from the same tree. Go ahead.
For every tree is known by his own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs.
Right. You're going to have to figure out. He going to give you a trial period. But don't think that trial period lasts forever. Go ahead.
Nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth that which is good. And an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. And why call you me Adonai, Adonai, and do not these things which I say? Whosoever comes to me and hears my sayings and does them, I will show you to whom he is like. He's like a man which built an house and dig deep and laid the foundation on a rock. And then the flood arose.
Uh-huh.
The stream beat vehemently upon that house and could not shake it.
It could not shake the house. Why?
For it was founded upon a rock.
Could not shake the house, but because the house was founded upon a rock. When it has the right foundation, it can go through all kinds of things. You can put that same thought process into relationships. What is it built upon? Is it built upon looks? Because looks gonna fade. We spend all our time chasing something and not respecting the one thing that we have. You think about what your thought process when you was 20 and then 30 and 40. You always was looking, if I look such and such, or I'm going to do this. Now you go back to look at your 30 and you realize, damn, I wish I looked like that again. Yeah, but when you were 30, you were trying to look like something else. You didn't know you already looked good. But you had to get to 50 to realize that 30 was good. So what you looking for now? Right. Go ahead.
But he that hears and does not is like a man that without a foundation built an house upon the earth, against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great.
Now, there is an old Chinese parable that says, give a man a fish, and you shall solve his hunger for today. Teach him how to fish, and you have solved hunger for a lifetime. Sometimes we ask Yahweh to remove some things out of our life because they offend us. We then expect to never see that particular scenario in our lives going forward from that prayer. When in actuality, we may see that thing that we prayed to be removed now comes at us in abundance. Why would my Elohim do this? Did he not hear my prayer? If it's lies that bother you and affects your walk, and we desire to have the lies removed, Yahweh instead brings more lies to your door and to your face. After a while, you realize that you no longer hurt when you are lied to. It is only then that you realize what your Elohim has done to you. Instead of removing the liars, he has removed the hurt that liars cause you. Now you can coexist in a room full of liars and maintain your walk. Now he has taught you how to fish instead of giving you a fish. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 16.
$683. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 1. The preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. Commit your works unto Yahweh, and your thoughts shall be established. Yahweh has made all things for himself. Yes, even the wicked for the day of evil.
Everything worked for Yahweh. Go ahead.
Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. By mercy and truth, lawlessness is purged, and by the fear of Yahweh, men depart from evil. When a man's ways please Yahweh, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Right. When a man's ways please Yahweh, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. You find you getting ready to swing, and the redneck come open the door. Come on in here, brother. Brother, you thirsty? He flying the Confederate flag. You know he don't like your kind, but for some reason, he like you today. He don't like nobody, but he like you today. Right. Your God told him, now leave that one alone. Now let that one pass too. That's mine. Go ahead.
Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. A man's heart deviseth his way, but Yahweh directs his steps. A divine sentence is in the lips of the king. His mouth transgresseth not in judgment. A just weight and balance are Yahweh's. All the weights of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaks right. The anger of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it.
A wise man will know not to anger the king. A wise man will know which things to avoid. Go ahead.
In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver? The highway of the upright is to depart from evil, but he that keeps his way preserves his soul. Pride goes before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Better is it to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handles a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusts in Yahweh, happy is he. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increase learning. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that has it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth, and adds learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. There is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. He that laboreth for himself, for his mouth craves it of him. An ungodly man digs up evil, and his lips, and in his lips there is as a burning fire. A froward man sows strife, and a whisperer separates chief friends. A violent man enticeth his neighbor, and leads him into the way that is not good. He shuts his eyes to devise froward things. Moving his lips, he brings evil to pass. The hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness.
The biggest word there is if. You don't get a crown of glory just because you have a hoary head, which is a gray head. Go ahead.
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rules his spirit than he that takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of Yahweh.
What does that mean? The lot is cast into the lap. There's a whole lot of situations that present themselves, but the disposing thereof, the end of the thing, is Yahweh's. It is written, judge no matter before it's time. That means there's some things that we have to wait and let it do what it do. Sometimes people ask you, hey man, why certain people ain't been kicked out of church already? Read that last verse again. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of Yahweh. When Yahweh is done, he gonna let us know, and ain't nothing we're gonna be able to do about it. That's all that we're gonna do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.